this committee just today on this very critical function of the House of Representatives. Significant in the sense that Jos occupies a very special place in Nigeria's television ecosystem.
The chairman of the House of Representatives Committee speak.
Both the arms of government must work together. Either the management from the executive side, the career officers, the legislators and the judiciary. And part of what we are doing is how do we collaborate to make sure Nigeria get the best.
The members were taken around on a familiarization tour at the NTA Jos Network Center by the Director General of NTA, accompanied by Executive Director Engineering and that of Training and Capacity Building. In Jos, Yusuf Umar, NTA News.
A study aimed at ensuring Nigeria's readiness to mitigate HIV/AIDS drug resistance among those on antiretroviral therapy through viral load monitoring and other ways has been conducted by a team of Nigerian researchers. The research in collaboration with university teaching hospitals and international health institutions was funded by the United States Center for Disease Control. Health correspondent Rabi Abdallah has the report.
Drug resistance is an unpleasant phenomenon in the treatment of diseases. In the case of viral diseases such as HIV and AIDS, which Nigeria bears a huge burden, experts say the country must monitor and guide against drug resistance.
This has been reported globally in various settings. We're now using the first-line drugs. Some patients are already resistant to first-line drugs and they've switched on to the second-line drugs. The last option is to move to the third-line drugs, which is going to be very tough for most countries and the government. The first-line drugs are affordable, and the second-line drugs to some extent are affordable, but the third-line drugs are very, very expensive, and not only are they expensive, they have higher toxic effects.
The study, which commenced in 2013 and concluded in 2016, focused on examining the impact of antiretroviral therapy adherence patterns in development of HIV drug resistance.
I would like to see costings put in place in the future when it comes to the delivery of HIV programs once we have the results of this study published, so that we know what percentage of patients are likely to fail first-line regimes, and therefore we put it into the costings in terms of moving forward.
The need for Nigeria to prioritize local funding of research was emphasized at the meeting. In Abuja, Rabi Abdallah, NTA News.
The federal government's national homegrown school feeding program has commenced in Ogun State, with 1,554 public primary schools benefiting. The state government started the scheme with presentation of kitchen utensils to participating vendors for smooth implementation. Lekon Agbonde completes the story.
As one of the electioneering promises of the government, pupils of public primary schools from primary 1 to 3 would have access to a free meal once daily on school days to enhance learning. The state government contributed to the program with provision of cooking utensils to 2,968 vendors selected for the scheme on a single-digit soft loan basis.
I implore all stakeholders in the scheme of work to work together to ensure the program works seamlessly and surpass its commencement standard.
The National Program Manager, Homegrown Feeding Program, Mrs. Abimbola Adesomi, represented by Secretary to Ogun State Government, Mr. Taiwo Adeoluwa, promises government's commitment to sustaining the scheme.
This program has been well conceptualized in a way that, by the grace of God, it will be seamless and sustainable.
Speakers, in their goodwill messages, urged stakeholders to put to bear quality and healthy practices in actualization of the scheme. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
And the federal government has commenced the enrollment to persons and cash payments, the enrollment of persons and cash payments to the poor and vulnerable in Kogi State under the National Cash Transfer Program. Francis Udojo reports that the 12 local governments of the state are benefiting under the first phase of the program.
The program has taken off in 2 local government areas in Kogi State, Adavi and Ajokuta, out of the 12 local government areas selected for implementation in the first phase, which is expected to capture more than 100,000 beneficiaries. To ensure that the data collected for the program tallies with the target group, the National Cash Transfer Team, headed by National Program Coordinator Dr. Temitope Sinkaye, embarked on an on-the-spot assessment to the benefiting communities.
Now that they've gotten the money, we need to begin to sensitize them and ensure that they comply with all this human capital area that we want the program to address.
The poor and the vulnerable in the benefiting local government areas, including 87-year-old Adiza Aliu, are already keen into the initiative.
Almighty Allah will help them.
I am Francis Udojo, NTA News.
Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Suleiman Kazauri, has advised Corps members to take advantage of the skills acquisition training program being offered during the orientation course to equip themselves for societal development. He visited the NYSC orientation camp in Gombe State. Musa Abubakar reports.
The visit by the Director General to the Barge Bay Orientation Camp is aimed at ensuring Corps members are adequately catered for as they embark on a quest to serve the nation. The Director General, who revealed plans by the NYSC to collaborate with Central Bank of Nigeria and Bank of Industry on affording Corps members the opportunity to access start-up capital for small-scale business, advised them to respect the tradition and customs of their host communities. He urged them to come up with community development innovations that will impact positively on the people.
Just a routine inspection of our camp facilities. In fact, it's excellent. From what I've seen, especially the clinic, I think Gombe is one of the best so far.
Director General, who earlier inspected Quarter Guard, was taken round to see facilities at the temporary orientation camp. In Gombe, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
The Nigeria Police now has a new force public relations officer. He is Jimo Moshood, a chief superintendent of police, who until his appointment was the deputy force public relations officer. He was appointed by the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, to replace Don Awuna, who was recently promoted and appointed Commissioner of Police, Akwa Ibom State Command. Chief Superintendent Jimo Moshood, who is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, hails from Kwara State and holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science from the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. He was once Police Public Relations Officer, Federal Capital Territory Command, Abuja. Jimo attended several courses within and outside the country, including in South Korea and China. And now for more reports on Network News, let's hook up with Lagos Network Center with Abdullahi sitting in tonight. Good evening, Abdullahi.
Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us here in Lagos. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has recommended day-to-day system of trials as a panacea to delays in the administration of justice. Osinbajo, who was represented by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, made the recommendation at the opening of a two-day stakeholder summit with the theme Contemporary Trends, Catalyst for Justice Sector Reform in Lagos State. Vera Chumba was there.
Acting President Yemi Osinbajo identified delay in the administration of justice as a major challenge that must be tackled by all relevant stakeholders in the justice sector. He urged lawyers and others to change their attitude and stand up for what is right. While alluding to plethora of statistics and judicial decisions, he said it takes a generation for cases to be resolved in Nigeria due to delays. He advocated hard punishment for deliberate act of delay aimed at stalling cases. The acting president took a swipe at some judges who would not sit on time and write early, lawyers who file frivolous applications and employ delay tactics, as well as shoddy police investigations.
I would like to point out that other problems exist, particularly regarding issues of access to justice and quality of justice. I hope we will use the opportunity of this summit to further discuss these problems.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode said for any nation to experience economic growth, it must first have a functional judicial system.
One of our top priorities is to leave behind a legacy of a 21st century justice sector driven by digital technology, empowered by digital literate judicial officers and legal service providers.
The Attorney General of Lagos State, Adeniji Kazeem, said the summit provides an opportunity to examine the current challenges and analyze prospective urgent reforms. In Lagos, Viera Chimoba, NTA News.
The Nigeria Customs Service Federal Operations Unit Zone A, Lagos, has intercepted 661 pieces of action pump rifles concealed with sealed doors. Comptroller General of Customs, Colonel Hamid Ali, who briefed the media on the seizure, said 3 suspects were arrested in connection with the seizure. Ademola Adoe has the report.
Comptroller General of Customs Hamid Ali said the container truck was intercepted by the roving team on the 22nd of January along Mile 2 Apapa Road. The truck was taken to the premises of Federal Operations Unit at Ikeja. Although the importers declared steel doors, the Comptroller General disclosed that after physical examination, it was discovered that 49 boxes containing a total of 661 pieces of pump-action rifles were concealed with the steel doors.
The document was configured to have been routed through documents so as to confuse the whole and create a part of the track to the record of the goods. Actually, the documents clearly state that the consignment, the container went from the track.
Considering the fragile security situation in some parts of the country, the Comptroller General said rifles, especially pump action, are under absolute prohibition.
We have instructed our officers that no matter what, if we're going to do only 5 containers in a day, 5 containers, and make sure that any container that gets out of there is properly secured before it gets out.
3 suspects, Oscar Nokafo, the importer, Mahmoud Hassan, the clearing agent, and Sadiq Mustafa, who accompanied the consignment, have been arrested. He also disclosed that the custom officers at Apapa involved in the clearance of the consignment have also been arrested. The pump action rifles, he said, will be handed over to the appropriate security agencies. In Lagos, Ademola Adeoye, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News, reaching you live from the Lagos Network Center. We'll have more reports ahead after this short timeout. Stay with us.
Amazing moms who identify and nurture the uniqueness in our kids. Indomie noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Hello? Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that. Starting now. Get to the door. Congratulations, you have passed the test.
Gioni M6 with a 5,000 milliamp battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge. Gioni M6, always in power.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons objects and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
We're back in Abuja with the rest of the news. The World Food Programme to create a food hub in Lagos for Nigeria and Africa, and the Nigeria Capital Market opens the week in the red. Details with Leah Katumba Batunde.
Hello and welcome to Business News at 9. The federal government says it will back plans by the United Nations World Food Programme WFP to create a food hub in Nigeria. The food hub, according to the United Nations, is to serve vulnerable people and communities in conflict-affected areas in Nigeria and other African nations. The Minister of State Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, disclosed this when she played host to the Executive Director of the UN World Food Programme, Ephraim Cousin. The minister stated that the plan for the food hub in the country was a good opportunity for business in Nigeria and the continent, as it will provide jobs and increased revenue for farmers, as they will have to stock up their food stores. On the challenge of telecommunications connectivity in the northeast, the minister assured government will address the logistics concern that was affected by insurgents to support the humanitarian operation for the communities there. Well, the federal government says it will reform the internal audit process in the ministries, departments and agencies by fully implementing the internal audit modernization process, which was mooted in 2010. Addressing a meeting of the directors of internal auditors, heads of internal audit units in the MDAs at the Treasury House recently, Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, underscored the importance of the internal audit function in ensuring transparent and accountable management of public finance in the MDAs, regretting that over the years it has been relegated to the background. He tasked the internal auditors to improve on the quality of their reports by making sure they capture and report cases of financial malfeasance in the various MDAs. The executive order to curb immigration and travel from certain countries signed by U.S. President Donald Trump has continued to elicit negative reactions both in currency and stock markets. Now back home, the Nigerian Stock Exchange began the week in the red. Let's take a look at closing figures from the NSE. And that's business news for this hour. Thank you for watching.
And the federal government has said tapping the creative potential of Nigeria's young minds advances rapid economic diversification and promotes investment. Minister of State, Industry, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, stated this when she received a young entrepreneur. Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji reports.
At just age 10, Nelson Ashinze, a primary school pupil, has distinguished himself as a creative mind whose specialty in making bow tie, pocket squares, headband, and other fashion accessories has earned him recognition in the fashion industry and the attention of the federal government, which is keenly driving economic diversification through promotion of made in Nigeria goods.
We're going to make sure that he has the adequate training on entrepreneurship skills. We have our Bank of Industry who also provide machines. So once the young man is ready for machines, we're going to help him access those machineries from Bank of Industry. Whatever support that he needs, we have NEPC when he's ready to export. We'll be there to support him. We're promoting Made in Nigeria.
As a minor, he needs to be properly guided. He needs to be placed in the right trajectory so that the benefits and the fruits of his intellect will not be abused.
I learned it from school.
Okay.
When I got home, I showed my dad. Then he now said that I'll have a bow tie company.
Since his debut in 2015, Nelson Ashinze, who is the founder of Nelson George Clothing, has utilized indigenous material and African prints in propagating Nigeria's rich culture in clothing. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji, NTA News.
Never too young to start off. Take another break for some more messages.
Sufficient benefits for public officers at state and federal levels and matters arising. This is the focus on NTA Tuesday Live this week. Tuesday Live. Informative, interactive, and engaging. Don't be told. Join us.
To the outer framers, the hat tippers, the turtleneckers, the fringe goers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt, and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel for an even better you. Dettol, be 100% sure.
The federal government's social investment program has begun. The poorest and most vulnerable in the land get 5,000 naira monthly, and phase 1 has started in 9 states of the federation. 200,000 unemployed graduates have been engaged in the N-Power Volunteer Corps, designed to engage 500,000 people. 5.5 million children will be fed regularly in the homegrown school feeding program, which kicked off in 3 states last year, with 9 more to be added this year. And under the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, thousands of cooperatives, market women, farmers, and enterprising youth have been receiving between 10,000 and 100,000 naira soft loans since November 2016. The Social Investment Program has begun. It can only get better. We promise change. Change is here.
The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
For a bit on the world scene now, 24 candidates vie for Somalia's presidency, 16 of them holding dual citizenship, plus 1 million signatures to stop U.S. President Donald Trump's visit to the UK. Let's join Gabriel Odu on Global Tidbits.
As Somalia prepares for presidential election early February, 24 candidates have been cleared to contest the election. 16 candidates have dual citizenship, USA 9, UK 4, Canada 3, and 10 no dual citizenship. Reports say no diaspora candidate has ever won in the past. Top contenders include